What even is this piece? Hey everyone, welcome back to Low Luxury, and I'm just gonna cut right to the chase on this one, because today on the channel we're gonna be taking a look at maybe the craziest piece we have ever checked out on this channel. I know you probably can't even fully tell what it is right now, but oh boy, it is something. What is that? It's insane, you guys. Well, this is a piece by the designer Matthew Miller. And if you're not familiar with him, I'd forgive you because I also hadn't heard of him until I bought this piece, actually. Yeah, I was just doing one of my random scourings of the luxury landscape for good sales, and this one popped up because this is a $900 piece that was like 80% off, and then I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I got on his site and he's like, here, I have another 30% off. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But before I did that, as I always do, I looked into who he was, because I'm not gonna go buying anything from just anybody, even if it is really cool looking. I wanna know who they are, what they do, what they're all about. So who is Matthew Miller anyway? He's clearly a pretty small designer, not very much in the fashion luxury consciousness, but he's actually been around for a really long time, and he is a very respected guy. He's stocked at quite a few places, like some of the Dover Street markets, things like that. But he is a British designer, and he does kind of like sportswear inspired stuff mixed with some really nice tailoring as well. He sometimes likes to insert kind of progressive politics into his pieces and his ideas, which I definitely can connect with and I appreciate. So I feel like I do vibe with the dude, just as far as his ideas and where he's coming from, and I very much vibe with the actual pieces themselves. So, like I said, craziest piece we've ever looked at. Let's fucking do it. But first, I've looked into it, and a very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. It's completely free. Just press that button and you will not regret it. Thank you so much. So you may be asking yourself, what even is this piece? Well, let me answer that for you, but it is kind of a longer explanation than usual. Usually you just be like, yeah, it's a t-shirt, or it's a jacket, or that's a pair of jeans. Well, this is a bomber jacket. You can see from the neckline right there, it's got that classic bomber neck, as well as that waist there, zip up, those sleeves. It's a very bombery silhouette, right? So that makes sense to some degree so far, but it's also got another added element, which is this is an entire like tactical vest edition that goes right on top of it. So it's like a two-piece actually. And it's also made out of this really crazy, interesting, like peach pink satiny material that I'm really curious to dive into and see what that's all about. There's all of this crazy tech stuff added all over the place. So yeah, this is a wild one. Let's do it. But first, let's take a look at that retail tag that comes with it and see if we can kind of see how Matthew Miller places this and learn a bit about the brand itself. So this is a simple matte white piece of cardstock. Actually, it's a folded over piece, I believe, yeah, as you can see there. And it's just got that normal cardstock texture, totally blank until you get to the bottom. And then debossed in there is Matthew Miller. I'm guessing that's his logo print there. Really nice and clean, like sans serif, just a classic font there. And this is really a very big tag. Yeah, that's real big, way bigger than most. But let's open this thing up and see what we got here. I'm having trouble with that. Why is it so hard to open? Okay, so the top of that is blank, but the bottom has some writing here. So I'm really happy we'll learn a bit about Matthew Miller, hopefully. So we've got some blank space and then Matthew Miller, that same font, it looks like bold, and then all centered here. This garment is an evolving concept and design philosophy. It has been marked with the words Untitled Mixed Media Dimensions Variable, making it an evolving cultural artifact. By wearing this piece, you will add an inherent value that cannot be replicated, faked, or destroyed, making it one of one. That is one of the coolest mission statements, mottos I've ever seen. I absolutely adore that, and I really do feel like that gave me a really good idea of how Matthew Miller thinks of clothing. Like, he sees the wearer as an integral part of the process. So I really appreciate that, and it makes me even more psyched to dive into this piece. And the back of this tag is also blank. That's just got a really thin white string here that's tied through this hole at the top. And that goes to this black safety pin that goes right through the bottom of the brand tag at the back of the neck. And speaking of which, let's take a look at that brand tag now. So much like that retail tag right here, I'd say this is quite large for a brand tag. It takes up that whole back of the neck area, as you can see. And it is just like a really soft, probably polyester, but super, super smooth, very clean white. It doesn't say Matthew Miller anywhere on that, interestingly. What you do get is stitched into the bottom here, and this is all like matched into a little rectangle here, like the spacing. They end and start in the same places. Untitled, mixed media, and the M's are underlined. So I'm guessing that's where you get Matthew Miller from, his initials, dimensions variable. And again, apparently it's called that because the final kind of touches are supposedly brought on by the wearer themselves, which is great. You can see they fold that over at the edges, and then they stitch it down in the four corners from the bottom there. And if we turn that inside out, we can see that it is just the inverse colors of white on black there. So now for a part I'm very much looking forward to, because we're going to take a look at the care tags, and hopefully this will tell us a bit more about like where it was made, what it's even made out of, and stuff like that, because considering the price, I'd have to assume this was made in China for what I paid for it. Otherwise, I'm not sure how we could get any money out of it, but let's find out. And actually, while we're here, we might as well take a guess at this fabrication. I'm going to guess rayon? Maybe? Or maybe a polyester, some type of polyester. Let's see. No more guesses here. So the first thing we get here is this huge white embroidered tag with that same motto on it, and it's massive for like a care tag. Like I don't think I've ever seen something that big on the inside of a piece. Again, you see the inverse colors on the back, and under that you get your more typical stuff. So first we've got our size tag there, S for small, and then to the right of that we've got our care tag in acetate. Oh, that's a new one. You don't see that very often. Then you get 5 washing symbols and made in Portugal. Very impressive. I'd say Portugal is one of the best countries in the world for quality garment manufacturing. Like maybe second just to Italy, I would say. A lot of luxury brands make their stuff in Portugal. So that's really cool to see. And then our washing instructions there, really simple, kind of left justified, just in English there. All right, my friends, now it's time for my favorite part, because we've checked all of that out, which means now we get to take a look at the piece itself and see what makes it tick, see what's going on here. So where the hell do we even start with this thing? Let's talk about that fabrication. So now we know that it is acetate, and you can see it really has a lot of shine to it. It's kind of hard to see in the light here on camera. I'm not sure how well it shows up, but it's very much a kind of muted peach color. A pastel peach. It's really, really cool. You can see it does almost have this kind of crepe crinkled texture here and there. It's really, really interesting. So this is the vest right here, the outer part, and it really does feel like this is pretty thick. It feels like it's the acetate on either end, but then there's something thicker inside to kind of give it some sort of shape. Whereas the bomber itself is much thinner and a bit drapier, you know? So you can see that this vest, it sits over the shoulders, and then this is actually Velcro strip here. So if you want, you can open it up like that, take it off, and you could just wear it open, and then there's that bomber underneath. And you can see the zip closure here. It's real silver metal with some black on either end. I love this long pull tab with the loop zipper here. Makes it really easy to unzip if you wanted to. And the zippers are actually YKK, which you always love to see. That's like one of the gold standards for zippers. Maybe I should say silver standard. It is silver. On the bomber itself, I love the kind of, not asymmetry, I'm not sure what to call it, the angles of these pockets. They're not sitting straight down. They're sitting on angles here. And actually quite big, quite spacious, right? Lined in black. And we've got these mini pockets, maybe, stick a lighter in there, something like that. So some very cool utilitarian stuff in here as well. It also has like a nice high back of the neck for a bomber, which I'm excited to see how it looks. I think it'll be actually pretty cool. The construction of this vest is really interesting as well. On the inside, you can see we've got elastics here, which I guess can really make it fit pretty well. You can fit it snug if you want, but if you've got a bigger waist, it'll work as well. On the outside, you have these big kind of parachute type pockets, again with these big pull tab zippers here. And if we look inside there, they're actually lined with this, it's a slightly stiffer fabric, and that's what really gives it that puffy shape, which I think is a super smart decision actually. You also have some more Velcro here, so I suppose you could undo the vest at the sides if you wanted. And they've got these kind of plastic buckles here where that elastic band wraps around. And then those are actually stitched down around the back. And there's another piece here, interestingly, which, whoa, that's so interesting. We're going to have to really break this down to understand how all of this works together. So this is the back of the vest right here, actually. And here is the back of the bomber jacket itself. So, now I'm starting to understand. So the back of the bomber jacket has this elastic piece coming right off the bottom. So there's the neck right there. So it comes off right here. And then that can go through this hole on the vest, which then comes out here. And then it Velcros onto the back of the vest. So it really keeps the vest locked into the bomber underneath. Whoa, this is insane, you guys. The bomber jacket itself, rather than the vest, also has its own utility elements. So this is the right sleeve if you were wearing it, and that one is kept clean. But at your left sleeve, you have this guy here. And this is actually essentially like a little clutch almost, a little wallet, because this could just come right off if you wanted to. So you could just hold it, use it as a pocket for whatever, put whatever in there, and then you can just slap it right onto your arm and it'll stay there with the Velcro. Really, really smart, interesting stuff. As you can see, both our cuffs and our hem, those are elasticated and quite big, quite stretchy as well. I'm glad. I think it's a really flattering silhouette when it grabs you at the cuffs and the waist like that. And there's the inside of the jacket right there, so you can see that it is fully lined in black. But the inside's really clean. No crazy zippers, pockets, or anything like that. All that crazy stuff is kept for the outside, and that inside just super, super minimal and straightforward. So now that we have checked every bit of this out, my goodness, let's try it on to see how it feels and see how it fits, because I'm very curious how that's going to turn out. Oh geez, this piece is insane, you guys. I was 100% correct when I said this might be the craziest thing we've ever looked at on this channel. It 100% is. Now that I've checked all of it out, tried it on, it is definitely the wildest piece we've ever seen. So it really is two distinct parts. It is the bomber jacket and it is the vest. And there is a way, to make them work together and to make them attach to each other, but they really are two distinct, separate pieces of clothing. And they can be worn separately. You could wear just the bomber or just the vest, but then you can attach them as well. You could wear the vest open and the bomber zipped. You could wear them both unzipped, or you could zip up the bomber, Velcro up the vest, and wear them both closed. You have so many options with this piece, and I really understand that philosophy he was talking about with, it's really the wearer that will add the final touches to this piece, because there's so much customizability and so many options here that it really is up to the wearer's interpretation of how to make this work. So I just think that is so cool. As for the fit, it is definitely a small fit. So the waist comes up quite high. It falls sometimes just above the waistline, at least for me. The sleeves are just about the right length, but also the chest is on the tighter side. So for you, if you're considering getting a piece like this from him, I would probably size up one size, but depending on, how big you are for your size, things like that, you could totally make true to size work as well. It's not like unwearable for me or anything like that. Finally, the feel. This is acetate. It's a very kind of smooth, drapey fabric. It's very soft feeling, so no complaints there whatsoever. It's a really, really comfortable fabrication, and you could wear this all day and I would not be complaining. It feels super, super comfy. So just wow, look at this piece. This is insane. I would definitely consider you guys to check Matthew Miller out because he's doing some really, really unique and interesting stuff within clothing. So that is what real Matthew Miller clothing looks like. And I'm impressed, you guys. This was a good one. So take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.